Good morning. Can please everybody who's got this kind of music on their iPod just quickly raise their hands? Okay, there's one. Well, we didn't when we were invited to participate in the pitch for the corporate design of the ensemble Musikfabrik. We, the agency Q from Wiesbaden, represented today by Alex Ginter and myself, Matthias Frey, would like to show you that it pays off to put all eggs in one basket. Because that's what we did when we designed, or when we took part in the pitch. We thought we're one of 5 agencies, so the chance of winning is 20%, fairly small. Usually when we go to a client, we show them two different designs, just to give them an option to choose. In this case, we didn't, because we thought they see so many things already when 5 agencies present their stuff. So instead of showing them options, we developed the thing that we thought was best for them and just showed them one design and put all our eggs in one basket. Okay.
And I would like to introduce who Q is. That's a photo of the design team. That's about 12 people. A picture we took last summer in our garden. And when we started to work for that pitch, we really were working ourselves into new music. And new music, new music really started in the 1910 and 1920 years with people like Arnold Schönberg. And what they did was they wanted to have a revolution in the concert hall. They really were questioning the basic foundations of music itself. They said, why has rhythm to be like this? Let's do it completely different. Same thing with melody and harmony and so on. And maybe this quote of John Cage shows you how serious these people were. We really like that quote. And what was changing as well was the form that music was written on paper. They invented something like graphic scores, and they wanted to invite the musicians to interpretate the music. This is really interesting for designers. And saying a few words about the ensemble Musikfabrik. They're at home in Cologne. There are 15 musicians playing classical instruments as well as self-built ones and new ones. And they play about 120 concerts every year all around the world. So I guess they're quite busy. They also have collaborations with artists of other fields. For example, this is Mouse on Mars. Maybe you know them. They're two electronic musicians.
Just to give you a brief look on what the ensemble looked like before we redid the design. This is the old logo, and we don't want to do any agency bashing. It's okay, but it had its time. It was done in the early 90s, and by looking at it, I think you can tell. So it was a good corporate design, but it sort of dated, and it was just the right moment when the ensemble decided that they need a new corporate design. So the new music was totally new to us. We never heard something like this before. So when we started working on the project, we tried to get our head around it. What is new music, or how can we relate to that? So we came up with a couple of characteristics that we saw in new music. One is it's not made for mainstream. The other thing is it changes your perception of music, because it's so different from everything else that we've heard. It surely did change our perception, and it also challenged our senses, because sometimes these are pieces of music and sounds that we never heard before, so you're actually quite challenged. And we thought to have a corporate design that they really can identify with, we have to do the same things that music does, the new music does. We have to do the same thing with our design. The new design shouldn't be for mainstream, but for the target group, and it should challenge the people looking at it. We found, when we were working on it, we found that this quote from Thibaut Kalman, and that actually sums it up what we did when we worked on it. It was hanging over our desk and always being an inspiration for us. Good, yeah, break rules. We're usually in our agency, each of us has their own clients, and we work either by ourselves or in smaller teams of two. But with this one, we were four or five people working on it, so half the agency was working on the project, which was really good, because it was just huge fun to work in a group, and it was a group effort, and we all really enjoyed it. And we decided, as I told you before, we decided just to make one design. Then we had the design ready. We went to Cologne to present it. Laurens, Alex and I drove to Cologne, and because we were presented it in front of 3 people, because not all the members of the ensemble could be there, and we were filmed, which was back then a new situation for us. Now we're getting filmed again, yeah, we presented in front of 3 people. We thought, we walked out the presentation and we thought, we've done a good job. Now it's up to them to decide which agency they choose. Then we, after a couple of weeks, maybe, or days, I don't know, we got a call and we were told that we had won the pitch. So we were really happy, opened up a bottle of champagne and celebrated. And then?
Yeah, and into this mood of happiness, there just came an email, and my boss Laurens told me, have a seat before you read that email, because there's lots of feedback. There was positive feedback, but as well maybe bad feedback, you may call it, or very harsh critique. And here are a few examples of what the feedback in that email was like. Yeah, this is our favorite. Yeah, we thought, why did we win? Why did we win at all? Of course, this is a little out of context, and there was also good feedback, but we were invited to come there again and to meet all of the ensemble members and talk the whole thing through again. And we also had the chance to join a rehearsal, which was really interesting, because we saw that the way that the musicians work is quite similar to our work. They really are very focused on the details and try to make it the best they can, and it's really somehow very similar to the way that we work. And then we had a very nice dinner together. It was not a barbecue, but we called it like this because we from Q literally were roasted. They roasted us by asking several really different, difficult questions, and they wanted to know about every detail, why exactly we had it designed like this. And they wanted us to really explain why we think it would be good. And it was really, it took 2 or 3 hours, and we talked everything through. But in the end, I think we were able to make them love the ideas as much as we did, because we see lots of potential in it. And after this evening, I guess everybody was really happy with the results, and I guess 99% of the design we had in the first place was really, they said, okay, let's do it like this. Ah, yeah, okay, so talking about all the concept stuff, now we're going into the designs. In the very beginning, we had a few lines of code in processing because we wanted to have a musical piece that would create an artwork. So these lines of code were producing a line graphic somehow, and we really liked the results. And we were just experimenting and playing around with the code for a few days. And in the end, we worked it over a little, and this is what it looked like in the end. Somehow this really reminds me of the graphic scores we just showed you. This is where the circle is closing again, music and design and the art.
And also we did the same with the logo, we did the same that the musicians do in music. We didn't really care about rules in the first place, because usually you hyphenate a word differently than we did. So it might look wrong or odd, but it keeps you, it starts you to think about it. And it also has, just like the music has an unusual rhythm, we also, in the logo, we have an unusual rhythm. And I mean, it might be hard to read in the first time you see it, but once you've seen it and realized how it works, you always read Ensemble Musikfabrik. We did the same to all the sub-brands, because they have an academy, for example, or a CD label, music label.
Yeah, we wanted to have a very special image concept, and we came up with the idea of wrapping things up, because the music, it's new music, so it's still wrapped. It comes from the factory, straight out of the factory, so it's still wrapped, and we started wrapping people and instruments, and had a very nice shooting together with a photographer and his stylist team from Amsterdam, and we were wrapping an instrument. That's a thing called gourd tree. It's an instrument of Harry Partch, an American composer of contemporary and new music, and we used lots of different wrapping materials. There was paper and duct tape and plastic foil, and lots of funky stuff. And in the end, this is what the pictures looked like. This is a little dark. Maybe we skip to the next one. For me, these pictures really make a connection to that kind of music, because it's the same atmosphere of surrealistic, a surrealistic world. And you don't know what's the story at first. You really have to work with it and think about it, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. The audience should not just look like an advertising or whatever campaign. It should consider it like a piece of art.
The image we've just seen was the first cover for the first seasonal brochure we did. There are 2 seasonal brochures per year. What we did with the design, we in all the covers and CD covers and posters we have a frame, but we don't keep the image contained in the frame, because that's what the music does too. It crosses borders. So we took parts of the image and let it walk over the frame. In German you would say den Rahmen sprengen. In English it's probably something like color outside of the lines. The first 3 pages in each seasonal brochure are full spread photos of the phenomenal music evenings that or concerts the ensemble does, because they're also visually not only for the ear but also visually very interesting. This is an information graphic, and usually information graphics they should be designed neatly so you get the information straight away. And we did quite the opposite. We just mixed up all the numbers, so you really have to work out the information that are hidden in these graphics. Some typographical details. These are the programs you get on the evening of a concert. And here we didn't really care too much about legibility. Usually you have a long copy and divide it in paragraphs so it's easy to read. We had the whole text just running through in one long line, and where there used to be a paragraph, we just put that little black rectangular. So it's readable, but people have to work their way through. This is a shame that you can't really see. The image isn't that good, but this page was really a surprise when it came out of print, because we have that gradient, the pink gradient in the middle, and the pages are grey. And when it came out of print, it looked like we had printed in neon. So we were quite surprised by that. All the images that we get from outside, like agencies or from the composers themselves, we tint them pink, so they sort of don't interfere with the design too much. Again, a small challenge for readers. They have to turn the page if they want to read the text.
Yes, and of course we have a great website, and we designed it to be responsive, which of course means that it will look good no matter what device you are using to look at it. And we developed a grid that allowed us to work with really big pictures, because that's where the magic is happening. They really have some very good photographers that gave us great pictures of the concerts. And all the concerts you can find in the calendar, which I think is the centerpiece or the heart of the website, because with playing so many concerts all around the world, you really need a good place to find all the information. And even on a little old iPhone 4, this page looks quite nice.
And then we were asked to design a CD edition of 10 CDs, and Thomas Osterdieckhoff, the managing director of the ensemble, asked one of the guys who is on the board of trustees if we could work with his artworks. You might have heard of him, Gerhard Richter. We were really excited when we heard that we could design CDs with his artworks. So we made some designs. We looked at his whole online gallery on his webpage and chose images or paintings to each of the CDs. We chose 2 images, and then we drove to Cologne and presented it to him. I was really nervous, but he was really relaxed and just really nice, and he liked our design, so that helped too. And we presented, as I said, for each CD we presented 2 images, and he chose the final one. This is what the CDs will look like when they're done. So far we only have complete number 8. And I have to go back. We have a plastic wrap around the CD, and the frame and the type is printed on the plastic. And if you pull out the stuff that's inside, you get a digipack, and then you realize that the CD cover is actually a poster that you can unfold, and probably after a little bit of ironing you can put up your own Gerhard Richter print on your wall. We also were asked to design a box that contains all these, the 10 CDs, and we didn't want it to be just a container, but we wanted it to be spectacular, so that people would really want to put it in their shelves. So it's big, and it's got silver embossing and whatnot else. And this is me on a really, really bad hair day, presenting it to the members of the ensemble, and they really liked it. In the future, this is one thing we had in the initial pitch. We haven't put it to reality yet, but we want to do it. The frame that's in the design, we turned it into an object and call it the gate to new music, and we wanted to put it in public places to attract the attention of people, like here on the station or in front of the Philharmonie. We also showed in the initial presentation that we thought the corporate design shouldn't be stiff, but it should be evolving, and it should be reinventing itself from time to time, just like the new music does too. So from time to time we will change the colors in the gradient, we will code a new structure that we use in the design, maybe change the typeface, and you'd still recognize it's Ensemble Musikfabrik, but it'll be evolving with time.
So, this is the end of our presentation, and like we already said in the very beginning, it's really a good thing to put just all eggs in one basket. You need to be brave to do it, and there will be moments that won't be easy, but in the end it really paid out for us to do so, because the project really got awesome, and the client is really happy with everything. We are really happy with everything, and I would just like to invite you to really do the same, put all eggs in one basket. Thanks.